Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone. This is Sultana Whitfield, Sister Sultana of Permissible Laughter. And I am here. I am not Preacher Moss. And I just want to welcome everyone to the Shout Out Show with Preacher Moss. And Preacher is actually in the air somewhere. He is, on the road. He was on standby. So, he's somewhere between Michigan and Texas. So he sends the greetings to everyone and hopes that everyone is doing well. So again, I am Sultana Whitfield, known as Sister Sultana. I am sometimes co-host and the consulting producer of the Shout Out Show. So I'd like to welcome everyone. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all the channels. But we're hopefully, I'll do a good job. Hopefully, it's going to be a little bit light because, as you know, we now, since we came back from hiatus, we are, from Monday to Thursday, we tape live Monday to Thursday, and then every first Saturday, we have a guest. And so it was up on the screen a little bit earlier. Omar Kareem from Banneker Ventures is going to be our Saturday spotlight guest, and we're super excited to have him. He is going to talk about, he is, in the real estate game, and he is doing very well in the area. And so we're going to talk to him about that. So that is this Saturday. Don't forget, 6 p.m., on all the same stations. So let's get into it, because time is leaving us. And of course, what is the subject of the day? It's about time. So what time is it? Right. So we know that we are about to go into, DST, right? Or DST time. So daylight savings time. It's about to, turn back the hands of time. And so what is it? What is daylight saving without the S? Right? Daylight savings time. So we're going to get into that a little bit. Just talk about it, talk about the little quirks. What was the history behind it? Some changes that have happened. What does it look like across the world, versus the US and in the US? And so, what's being done. So stick with us. I do want to, welcome everyone again, but we'll get back into it. I'm going to go ahead and start the show, and then I'll get back into it. All right. And also, I'm doing both, so I may look away from the camera. That's just because I'm doing the controls. So, but I'll be back with you in a second.
You're asking me to confess to bringing late night to Muslims and beyond with my new project, the Shout Out Show with Preacher Moss. Well, what can I say, son? I'm guilty now. Sentence me to be funny. I dare you.
So, hey everyone. So that was a little old clip of a preacher when he was first bringing out the Shout Out Show. Late night, to bringing Muslim comedy to late night. So thought you would enjoy that. So I'd like to welcome everyone. Again, the subject of the day is going to be what time is it? A look at DST, daylight savings time. I'm going to welcome everyone. And say hi to our warriors out here, our shout out show warriors, or community, I should say. But Ree, so I'd like to welcome you. Um, hello. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you're doing well in Texas. I hope you got the power. I heard you had power off yesterday. I think you mentioned that. So hopefully everything is okay. So yeah, thanks for joining. And Altaf Rashi, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And welcome to the show. So Altaf is our Canadian ambassador, as Preacher calls him. So Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, right? So Altaf has been with us like nearly from day one. And we're like on show 530. So Altaf has been with us. So thank you for joining all the way from Canada. Altaf, thank you. Brother Salahuddin, thank you so much for joining. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brother Bilal Salahuddin, where are you coming in from? I know you are one of our newest members of the community. So let us know where you're coming from. Okay. And so again, just to, recap, if you're all just joining, Preacher is somewhere in the air. He is traveling from somewhere from Michigan to Houston. So there's delays in the air just because, air traffic has been really crazy. So he sends the greetings to everyone. And so, you're with me today, okay, as Sister Sutana, as your host. And Brother Salahuddin says he's from Houston. Okay, so all right, Brother Salahuddin. All right, so welcome everyone. So let's get into it. Daylight saving without the S, daylight savings time, DST. So, to me, this is one of the times of years that, it just, when we have to change the clock back, right? And so it's like we get used to, we're just coming out of the summer months, we have all this sunlight that's happening, and then bam, right? It's like we have to turn the clock back and there's no sunlight, and then we're like tired, right? Because we're technically losing an hour of sleep, so they say, right? So, so this is, to me, it's not the best time of year for me, but we're gonna kind of talk about it, and I want people to kind of talk through like what their relationship is with daylight savings time. So daylight savings time, and I always thought it was something that was U.S. focused, that the U.S. kind of started, but not really, right? So it started back in 1895, right? Where this in New Zealand, right? It was a suggestion, right? A suggestion from an entomologist, so a bug lover, right? So he suggested that that they turn the clocks, back like 2 hours. In order for him to have time to, after he got off work, but also to bug hunt, right? That was his thing, right? So he wanted some time to do that. So that was like a suggestion that really never, it never really took on during that time, but that was kind of the first suggestion that was made. And I think they tried it and then it really didn't happen. So there have been different variations of DST across the world. I will step back a little bit and say that, people think that Ben Franklin, the guy with the kite and the key, kind of started that. There was a mention that he suggested it, but it never really took to actually being really implemented. So that's really, I guess, kind of a folklore that he started it, but not really. So then, so again, this etymologist, he mentioned that he wanted it to turn the clocks back 2 hours, twice a year, just so he could bug hunt, hey, cool. And then in 1908, our Canadian brother, so Altaf, thank you to your Canadian fellows, it was a city called Port Arthur, which is, I think, now Thunder Bay, right? And so they suggested that they actually were the first one to actually turn the clocks back, right? So they turned the clocks back an hour and actually did an experiment, right? And so it was around farming and just needing extra light. And so they were basically the first catalyst to actually have, this experiment of turning the clocks back, right? So then it took off around the world. Germany was like one of the really, also one of the first ones to really implement it because it was during the war, right? So, so during the war, and they wanted to save money on equipment or save money for the war, right? So that was another that they implemented it, and it was only in parts of Germany. And then at one point they decided to not do DST and then do DST. So, but they were actually one of the first one, I guess, in the most of the industrial world to actually do DST. Then comes the latecomers. I won't say the latecomers, but the U.S. The U.S. comes in around 1918 when we actually adopted this method of turning the clocks back. And again, it was around the time of the war. We wanted to save money during the war, so we actually turned the clocks back. Other things were like farmers did request that they needed more time to do growing, which is it's a little interesting point that I found out that here in the U.S., although we used to farm a lot, we don't really farm as much. And I saw this post from Dr. Jahan. She had posted that like only 2% of our crops are fruits and vegetables, while the others are like starch and corn and other soy, I think it is. So that was just a little bit of fun fact, if not so fun. But anyway, so then during that time, we took on adopted the DST. And so then we've actually had variations of DST in the US. And so, but during the 1970s, the oil or the energy embargo or the energy crisis is when we really, really took it on and decided to, really adopt it because of the oil crisis, right? And so it was a time to definitely save money. We were in this almost this war, right? That around the oil. So we adopted it, again to save on money. So with that, we then in the U.S. we've actually, which was always in March to October. But in 2007, they changed it to April to November. Okay. And so these were, schools and the folklore was around that, they wanted to do it after Halloween, right? They wanted to give the kids a chance to be out during the light. So during Halloween, right? Which is interesting because Halloween is usually a dark time event, right? So, okay. So then, what else happened? Okay. And so then there were opponents to it, right? So the airline industries have always opposed it because then they were like that their schedules, it would cost them, so much to change their schedules. And then also, farmers, of course, loved it. There's also, a discussion around, not having kids out during the nighttime. So I want to hear your stories. I'm going to tell my stories, like, of like DST and what the angst is for me. But before I do that, I'm going to play a little video, but come back and let me know what does DST mean for you? And how do you get around it? Because there's just so much, angst around it. So I'm going to play a video. Let me see if I can get this in. Okay, cool. Hey, it worked. Okay. All right. Bear with me. Here we go.
Get ready to reset your clocks. We spring forward this Sunday, but changing the clock could come to an end if several lawmakers finally have it their way.
The battle over daylight saving time is headed back to Congress, and it has the support of both of Florida's senators. But as News 6's Carolina Cardona explains, that 1 hour could also make a difference for your health.
As a physician, I agree with just one time throughout the year.
Dr. Dahlia Wax, a family medicine physician, says that 1 hour time difference of daylight saving time causes a spike in car crashes, workplace injuries, heart issues, even fertility and depression issues.
How is our health linked to that. In terms of the physiology, that's a fantastic question. We might not have pinpointed what is it about just 60 minutes starting to have that sort of health effect, but we are seeing grossly in the numbers cumulatively that many people don't do well with this. It might be the perception of it. Maybe people are stressed and their blood pressure goes up. Maybe it's because people are already sleep deprived and that one extra hour puts them over the edge.
Days before we spring forward, Senators Marco Rubio and Rick Scott are trying to make daylight saving time permanent across the country after Rubio reintroduced the Sunshine Protection Act he had introduced in 2018. The Sunshine Protection Act of 2021 would apply to states who participate in daylight saving time by opting out of standard time, which only lasts between November to March, when Americans turn their clocks back 1 hour.
These biannual time changes that we've had, this has been happening since World War I, World War II. It basically started us having daylight savings time.
Dr. Wax started an online petition in hopes Congress will put an end to the time change. The petition already has more than 200,000 signatures. According to a statement by Senator Rubio, 15 other states, including California, Georgia, and Tennessee, have passed similar laws and resolutions.
It looks like the majority of people just want one time, so we don't have to go through this change and this body disruption of our circadian rhythm, which could be an issue. Maybe the circadian rhythm, just 1 hour is enough to disrupt it. But I think the consensus is of the American public is just pick one and stick with it because it's a little obsolete since we're not in wartime anymore.
In Orlando, Carolina Cardona, News 6.
Forward this Sunday, but changing the clock could come to an end if several lawmakers finally have it their way.
The battle over daylight saving time is headed back to Congress, and it has the support of both of Florida's senators. But as News 6's Carolina Cardona explains, that 1 hour could also make a difference for your health.
The screen is literally gone.
As a physician, I agree with just one time.
Okay, you got to hear that again. Okay, so sorry about that. So, so then that just gives you a little bit of, situations that are going on with DST, right? And I totally agree with like having only a one-time change because it does wreck your health. It wrecks your, they say your circadian rhythm, and I absolutely agree with that. I do want to hear from you all, so I'm going to answer some. There are a few comments in here, but I do want to hear what is your opinion on daylight savings time. So I do want to say, so Sister Ree says, hello, beautiful. Yes, power was off for long hours, but glad you're doing better. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was a little bit under the weather early this week. So thank you so much. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Brother Johnny L. Thomas, and to Sister Yolanda, and to, to your family as well. And Mama Mary Moss, welcome. So she says, I prefer DST because days are longer and it gives working people to get home before it's too dark. So you're absolutely right. I do like that. What I dislike about this is the change, the havoc that it does to your body. I think that's what my my if I want to say gripe with DST. And then not only that, it's a way for to me, I always thought that it was like a way for man to control or to manipulate time, right? And so we have first initially it was they wanted to do it 2 times a year. They wanted to do it 2 hours ahead. Then they wanted to do it 1 hour ahead. They wanted to do, and even one instance, I forget where it was at, but they said they wanted to do it like every Sunday from like March to like move it ahead like 40 minutes every Sunday for like 3 months. So can you imagine that? I can't imagine that. But and so again, that was just a way I think to manipulate time. And then of course also and it's again, it's like initially it was in March to October. Now it's since like 2007, it's been from like 2007. It's been from April to April to November. So I'm sorry, March to November. So yeah, it plays havoc. Like this weekend, I think it's just going to, by the time we wake up on Monday, it's going to be dark out. People tend to like get into more accidents during this time. It's hard for your eyes to adjust during this time. So that's my that's my gripe with it. I don't know, like, what, the school kids, I know like getting up like this early in the morning and not like really having daylight to going out in the daylight. So there's some pros and cons, I think, to it. Sorry, my glasses like fogging up on me for real. Sorry about that. There's some pros and cons to it. So, I just want to hear from you. So like, what is your judgment on like DST? Should we have it? Should we not have it? Should we have it for part ways? Or there are some things that you do like? I'm just curious about that. So don't all speak at once, but all speak, please. But I do agree with the summer. To me, the summertime is like one of the best times, I think, for as Mama Mary said that getting home and not having that time to kind of just have some light and have some just time to like feel like you have something to do, that you're not just like coming in from home and just like going doing your chores and then going to bed and not having a life outside of after work. So yeah, I agree with you. So brother Bilal said it makes him want to go to bed at 4:30, and that is so true. Like I'm looking outside now, and it's like 6:30 here, and it's like a 6:20 here, and it's you feel like you want to go to bed, and then like if you're on like prayer time, Salat time, right? So Salat right now has been coming in so quickly. It's been coming in so quickly. It has like it's nearly like almost like an hour. Like, as you get into the later prayers, it's like almost like an hour and a half after each other. So it's becoming like, your day ends early. But then again, I guess on the good side, if you're fasting during this time, like when fasting comes in, it's probably a great thing, right? It's not during the summer. So I don't know. Yeah. So then you're right. Like around this time, like when things shut down after Isha, I'm like, and after our last prayer, I'm like, if I have nothing else to do, I'm like, what else is to do, right? Like you just feel like you want to just like, pack it in and just like, all right, just like, go to bed, to do a good book and like go to bed. So I don't know. But some of the other things, okay. So then we talked about, some of the history of it. So what I find was really interesting, like also is that if you have family or if you have associates or work partners in other countries who don't partake in DST. So it's always an adjustment as well, right? So there are some countries I do do some work in a Eastern European country that doesn't deal with DST. So I do it like early in the morning already. And so we're switching on Monday, and I'm sending them a message. I'm like, do you deal with DST? And number one, they're like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, does your time change? And they're like, no. So then we're like going back an entire hour, right? Which is already early in the morning. So we're going back way early in the morning, an hour to like, do business with, so my colleagues there. So, hey, what are you going to do? So I am going to take a break, and we will be right back.
There you are. I know you're looking at your screen going,
That's a good-looking black man. And you're right. I'm Preacher Moss, and you're not. Today, I want to talk about Olive Branch Muslim Family Services, better known as the people who help people. And I need you to help the people who help people so they can continue to, you guess it, help people. Get it? Got it? Good. Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Action you can see, compassion you can feel. Graphic now.
Okay, so we said the preacher again. For those who are joining, he is somewhere in the air, traveling, not sure where because his flight was delayed, and so he stuck with me. And so we were just like kind of looking at time, just kind of having a discussion around time. Some other things I wanted to point out before we kind of leave you is that again, it was daylight savings time had a couple of reasons that it was enacted, and it was for light, for number one, for farmers, to save energy, in some instances, during the war they wanted to save money, and so again we know that this is a time, coming up this weekend, we're falling back an hour. So don't forget to set your clocks on Saturday night going into Sunday. And that's another thing. I think they started it on Saturday night to give us a little bit of, leeway to like get adjusted to going into the workday. So thank you that they did not do this on 2 a.m. on a Sunday night, because we would all just be in a quandary. So okay, so I am going to start to wrap it up. I do want to say that, if you all are in Kansas City, in Wichita, Kansas, Preacher actually is doing the Preacher, part of the Preacher Mosque tour. So if you're out there, we're going to get that information out to you all. So if you're in the area, make sure you stop by to see. There are a couple of things that are going on that night, but make sure you come out to Wichita Wichita, Kansas, that evening on Friday. And we are going to, he's talked a little bit about the Preacher Mosque tour, but we're going to get some more information out there. We're looking to come to a city near you. So keep watch for that. It's going to be that's going to be exciting. And then again, as you know, we came back from hiatus, and Monday through Thursday is live taping for the ShOUT show. But every first Saturday is going to be a guest. And so for this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to have a guest, and the guest is Omar Kareem. Omar Kareem is of Banneker Ventures, and he is he's in the real estate business, and he's actually going to come and talk to us. He's actually, has his firm, or his firm has done millions of dollars in a lot of the Maryland, the DMV area. And so they're going to talk to us about, about his ventures. So definitely, come back on this Saturday. And hopefully we'll see you soon. So just wanted to thank everyone for being here with me. I appreciate you. And so we'll see you on Saturday. Same time, same station. So have a good one, and I will see you then. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, team, we've come to the end of yet another show. And I have to say, I had a good time, and I hope that you had a good time as well. Listen, at this part of the show, we have no more show. I could literally sing a song saying we have no more show. However, to spare all of us that embarrassment and chaos, I'm just going to say, please join us tomorrow here on the ShOUT Show, Monday through Thursdays, and every first Saturday, we do our Saturday Spotlight. Here we are again, 5 to 5:30 on the Central Time. And of course, we're going to do our rebroadcasts at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock p.m. And of course, that would be 6 o'clock on the West Coast. So time for you to go, because it's time for me to go. I think I will do that song. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for coming to the show. That's all the lyrics I wrote. But you get the idea. See you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. Shout out.